From Journey with VRD, you're listening to the Visions, Missions, and Manifestations podcast, the number one place for spirituality, healing, and transcendence. I'm your host, Vivian-Raquel Dayan. Now let's get into it.
Okay, jump right in because I'm
Just jump
really
right
curious.
in.
Okay, because I'm super curious. So, since the first episode of your podcast launched, completed, like what are some of the big things that happened in your life? What are some of the major manifestations that came into being? Like, just like what has been birthed through you? I'm super curious.
So much. Like, if I just look back, because the first episode came out in February, which is insane to think about. Like, we're still in 2024. We're at the end, we're in Q4 of 2024. But if I take a look back at this year alone, I accomplished what I feel like people accomplish in like a lifetime, in 10 years. I created a podcast. I led thousands of people to their next level. And I manifested giving some of the biggest talks I've ever given in my life. At one talk, I think I had like 50 people there, which is huge because I'm used to like doing one-on-one clients, or I'm used to smaller workshops. The biggest workshop I ever had was 8 people in person. So to go from 8 people in person to about 50 women going through the journey with VRD, 5 steps to your manifestation, the 5 dimensions to your ascension is huge. And then that doesn't even take in consideration all the people that I've got to speak with and journey with and connect with and go deep with on their journey one-on-one or through Instagram, through my reels. There's so many different ways to access me. And then of course the in-person workshops. And then I also did online workshops. Just manifesting these talks were huge. Like it all happened because a woman saw me and she was like, wow, you are so professional. What do you do? She started telling me some of her problems, some of the things that she was moving through with body image. And I spoke with her and redirected her and gave her some tips and tools to move out of a place of feeling disgusted with herself, hating her reflection, to losing the weight she wants to lose naturally. You know, I know Ozempic is a huge thing right now, and falling in love with herself. She did that and she's like, Vivian, I need you to come talk in person. These women need to hear your story and they need to learn your strategy, like how to go from where you are to where you want to be. And so I did. And after that, it was such a success that people literally were calling me nonstop because I made the mistake of giving everybody my phone number instead of my email. And I ended up not only, helping all these people with their manifestation journeys, but also getting hired to speak at more events at different places because of the word to mouth. So that was a huge, huge, huge manifestation in of itself. And then I'm still dating the same amazing guy, and more manifestations, I'll just say, because there are just so many. I've also manifested, we're doing a Sedona retreat. It's finally, actually happening. President's Day weekend in February. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You are initiated, you are invited to get to the next level of your life. So if you're feeling stuck in any area of your life, you're feeling like nothing's moving, or like you've had it with your relationships, they're not feeling fulfilling. You had it with like staying in this loop of scarcity, wanting to manifest more money, wanting to manifest a wealthier lifestyle, not just like the funds in the bank account, because you could have all the money in the world, but if you're not actually living the life, right? So manifesting the financial freedom to have the life, to have the wealth, this is a manifestation workshop for you. And of course, we're going to go through new levels of spirituality and higher levels of confidence. And there's just so many fun things on this retreat. So it's going to be really fun. And it's our first retreat in Sedona, Arizona, which in February, I went on myself and had a life-changing experience. It was after that trip, it was after that journey that I launched the Visions, Missions, and Manifestations workshop, that I met my boyfriend and really just took Journey with VRD to the next level. I've also
Mm,
manifested having my in-person manifestation VIP days where I create the best manifestation day you could possibly imagine. I curate it specifically for my client, for you, and put you up in a 5-star hotel. So after a full day of magic and manifestation, you get to integrate and process the day at a 5-star luxury hotel. So that was
mm,
so cool being able to experience seeing my clients that don't necessarily live in New York and getting to be in their energy and having them be in my physical energy. So that was really cool.
Okay, there's a couple of questions that come up immediately when you share all of that.
I know so
And
much.
one, yeah, that's one is kind of connected to your own practice and what you do, but I'm first curious about what is kind of the number one thing that people come to you with? Like, what's the number one gap that they have between what they desire and what's actually manifesting? What would you say is like the number one?
The number one thing that people come to me saying is like, Vivian, I want to manifest more money. And I think this is because I post a lot about all the money my clients manifest. Like the moment somebody comes to me wanting to manifest money, they find the money. Like random amounts of money will show up in their bank account. They're like, where is this even from? I don't even understand. I always share the story about how I once manifested $5,000. It was $8,000, but like it was actually $5,000 more than I was supposed to get, that I'll share in a minute. But when people come to me wanting to manifest more money or wanting to manifest money, they say, "Oh yeah, I just want to manifest. I want to be in the abundance." And I'm like, "Okay, let's really narrow it down. Like, what are you really wanting? Do you want to have a certain number in the bank account, or are you really craving the financial freedom to live a wealthy life? Are you really creating this life where you don't feel like you are being controlled by anything or a slave? You no longer want to be a slave to your 9 to 5. You no longer want to have to beg a parent or a partner for the money in order for you to do the things that feel aligned and that you love. And it's more often than not, it's not the number in the bank account that they're wanting, it's the freedom to live the life that excites them, to wake up to a life that they don't have to start scrolling on Instagram harding, but instead waking up to that life that they're always harding on Instagram. So um, most people come to me for a better quality of life, and it comes in many different masks, like wanting to manifest more money, or wanting to manifest better relationships, or wanting to manifest their soulmate, or health, or whatever it is. At the end of the day, it all boils down to a better experience of life where you feel free to do the things that you love and you're surrounded by the people that you love and feel most supported by. So, yeah, that's the number one thing that people come to me wanting to manifest.
I mean, so if we kind of like boil it down to the root of all of it, essentially people, I mean, everyone longs for freedom, right? I think love and freedom, that's what everyone longs for.
Mhm.
Can you speak on how does someone, like, if they're new or maybe they followed you for a while, but how does someone cultivate kind of like the resonance of freedom within themselves? Or what's your take on the energetics of freedom and money connected? I'm curious.
Yeah. Money and freedom are connected. Money and love are connected. Well, let's break down the energetics behind this. So, the energetics behind freedom, in order to feel free, you must feel safe, right? Because without safety, you're not going to jump off a cliff to risk in the name of your expansion, in the name of your growth. And when we do jump off the cliff in the name of our growth, we are a magnet for all of the things that we're calling in. We become magnetic. Our sense of worthiness when we take that leap of faith is so high, which is another way of saying we're in a high vibration. And when we're in a high vibration, we attract higher quality, high vibrational, higher energy things, which is another way of saying high self-worth things. Okay. And because safety is the backbone of freedom, we have to look at money and love. Money and love are connected because they also both represent safety. When we feel loved and we're in an aligned relationship, we feel safe. We have somebody to share life experiences with, our life experiences with, and especially really intimate and vulnerable ones with our partner, with this person that we love. And with money, when we have the money we need, right? When we have the finances we need in order to get our basic needs met, and even more than that, we feel safe. We feel like there's a roof over our head. I know where my next dollar is coming from. And so money and love are connected. They both represent safety. When it comes to manifestation, although you might think you're only manifesting love or you're only manifesting more money or freedom or whatever it is, when we work on one thing, we're actually bringing the whole package of our life, all the different categories and containers, up to a higher level with us. When you work on one thing, you're actually working on all the things and you're manifesting a higher level of being, a higher quality of life on a higher dimension and a higher frequency. And please interrupt me if something is just like not making any sense to you, because I really want to boil this down to the person who like is here for the basics. So,
Mm-hmm.
so it all comes down to safety at the end of the day. So when we practice feeling more safe, what happens in turn? Well, we manifest more freedom in our life because we feel free, we feel safe to take the risk. When we feel safe, we feel good and comfortable in relationship. We feel in our worth with money, and we start setting boundaries, and we start, okay, passing tests. I hate saying passing tests because I know it doesn't make sense right away. So I'm going to boil it down, break it down. Passing tests meaning like we stop saying yes to the things that we wish we were saying no to, right? We start valuing our time. We start valuing us, ourselves more, and our relationship to self expands and grows. And at the end of the day, we manifest based off our relationship to self. Everything is a reflection of our relationship to self. And if we value ourselves and if we're in a high self-worth state, right, which is another way of saying high vibrational state, we manifest bigger and greater things. So to get back to your question, how do I practice unstucking myself or being free? Well, I look at all the places in my life where I don't feel free. I start taking inventory, which is step 2 of the 5-step journey with VRD process to manifesting your next level. So I take inventory. Okay, what is currently filling up different containers of my life, such as love, relationships, money, career, fun and adventure, contribution, spiritual development, personal development, and all these different areas of my life. Like, what is filling it up? And then where am I feeling stuck? What am I doing that I don't actually want to be doing? Who am I speaking to that just doesn't feel in alignment anymore, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have responsibilities, obligations that we have to do, right? Like if we have a child, like we can't just not take care of them, even if it doesn't feel
No.
fun, right? But how can we add more fun into our lives? How can we be there for our future self now so that our future self feels the ease and flow of life? And when I talk about our future selves, I'm not talking about the you in a year from now. I'm not talking about the you in 6 months from now. I'm talking about the you tomorrow. How can you make your life tomorrow easier? What's something you could do right now? And that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be something physical, like meal prepping. Yes, that's a great way to take care of your future self, but it could also be as simply as like, I'm going to choose a new belief. Instead of saying that this week is so chaotic and that I can't even handle it, and I'm going to replace that with, you know what? I get to show up every single day and put some magic into every single moment. I get to like put more laughter in my life, put music on that makes me feel good as I get ready in the morning, right? That's not adding anything to your time except energizing, charging the energy in which you get to get up in the morning with. Like my alarm every single day that goes off is house music because I love house music. So I wake up dancing. I'm like, oh yeah, waking up to my best life. Like when I get ready in the morning and then I change the music to, I have a playlist on Spotify, like boss ass bitch music. And I get in the head of like, I'm going to rule today. Like today is mine. I'm claiming it, setting my intentions. Music sets a
Mm-hmm.
vibe. So definitely setting a vibe, setting an intention for your day and like knowing that you don't have to add another thing to do in your day. It could be as simple as changing the energy of the space that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you unstuck yourself, right? It takes you out of your rut.
The nugget that you gave that I love so much is that a high vibrational state is translatable to a high self-worth. essentially.
Mm, yeah.
How do people, and maybe that's not as hard as people make it out to be, how do people get from feeling maybe unworthy or not feeling worthy to feel a high level of self-worth? If you had to
Mm.
give them like a step-by-step guide or maybe something tangible,
I'll give
what's
you something
your,
tangible.
yeah,
I'll give you something tangible. This is a really easy one. You could do this on your commute. You could do this on a walk. Like, this is one of my easiest, quickest ways. Like, this is one that you could do wherever you are, no matter what. It's actually in my 7-day manifestation tracker that I give to my clients to like actually like keep track of their manifestations and see how abundant they really are. It's like a game changer. But create a list of at least 8 things that you are super proud of accomplishing? What are 8 things that you've accomplished within the past 10 years that you are so proud of yourself for, right? Like, if I just think of a couple things that I've done, it's start journey with VRD, hosted my first retreat at 25 years old in upstate New York. I gave my manifestation talks, like my in-person talks, and actually had people sign up and listen and love it, and then come back to me with manifestation success stories. Like these people came, showed up, got it, did it. Like, wow, wow. Hey, I manifested $8,000. Okay, I did them. I was like tinkering around with different meditations, and I went to sleep, did a meditation in my head, and I said, I'm going to test this out for financial abundance. Next day, I wake up, I'm going to the subway, and I thought I only had like $10 in my bank account. I kid you not, like really embarrassing. This is in 2022, 2020. Yeah, 2022, it had to be. The end of 2021, 2022. I look at my bank account, I have $8,000 in this account. And I got
that's
paid for my 9 to 5 early, but I don't get paid $8,000. So I go into work and I see my coworker who I was close with, and I was like, listen, I need to tell you something. I think I accidentally got paid $5,000 extra. And he's like, no, actually, the company wanted to give you a bonus. We were doing bonuses yesterday, and even though you were only here for 4 months, the company wanted to show their appreciation for you. Was like, holy mother of pearl. This meditation worked. Holy mother effer. And so, um, yeah, that's how I manifested it. And it became part of what I teach today, what I use with my clients today. So it really is all about raising your self-worth. Like raising your self-worth is part of the secret sauce of manifestation. It's like one of the top 3 things that you have to do in order to manifest a life that you cannot stop dreaming about. Or, maybe there's not a life that you can't stop dreaming about, but you always knew deep down inside, since you were a little girl or a little boy, you just always knew that there was something more for you. Like you always knew, like, my life is going to be fucking amazing. And then you look at where you are right now and you're like, this does not feel fucking amazing. And so you're like, okay, I'm not where I'm meant to be. And I don't necessarily know what that amazing life looks like. I just know I'm not where that is. I'm not in it right now. But I know that I'm meant for something so much more than where I am now, you know? And if you're in that state, like, yes. Yes, that deep knowing that you had, that's a hell yes. That life is there for you. Um, I literally just hung up the call for the Manifestation Acceleration Program. It's a group program that I'm currently actually finishing up. There's only 2 more sessions left. It's so sad. But we were talking about how your manifestations, your dreams, your desires, you think that you're choosing them, but you're not. They're choosing you. You have so many thoughts every single day, right? But why do you remember certain ones? Certain ones stem from deep-rooted fears, deep-rooted traumas, guilt, shame, but some of them, they stick with you because they're meant for you. It's an inner calling. It's saying, hello, listen, look what is available to you. Look, like pay attention to your choices, pay attention to your beliefs, because these are all things leading you to your purpose, to your path of what you came here to create and do and experience, right? And so you think that you choose your manifestations, but in fact, your manifestations are choosing you. And why am I telling you this? For the person who just knows that there's something greater, it's because there is something greater for you. Know that it's available to you. It's readily available to you. A part of it is choosing it. Like just, you don't need to know the how. this is something I also say, like when you're in that dream flow state and you're visualizing your life, right? You are getting closer and closer to that picture, to that vision, to that mission, to that manifestation. The moment that you're like, okay, but how is when you hang up the Wi-Fi connection and you disconnect the phone call, it's done. Done. You just blew it. It went so far into the future. You have to remember that the how is going to work itself out. An example of this is like when I started the Visions, Missions, and Manifestation podcast. When I started this podcast, hello, I had no idea how to do a podcast, how to create a podcast. I had no idea. But I said I'm going to do it. And I didn't even know how to get guests. I remember like Amanda Blair, she was on season 1. She was one of the first people I asked to be on the podcast. I loved her. I still love her. I love her. She is a manifestation coach that I saw for a really long time and looked up to. And I direct messaged her on Instagram, like, hey, I know this is like kind of a long shot, but would you ever be on my podcast? This is the goal. It's the #1 place for spirituality, healing, transcendence. I'd like for you to talk about like your journey to manifesting love because she taught me a lot of the process of manifesting love. And she was like, hell yeah, I'll do it. Like it was like, I was like, whoa. And now after her, then I like contacted Isabella Baham. And then I contacted Atara and I contacted Maureen St. Germain, like these bigger names in the manifestation and the spiritual world. And it gave me the confidence to really go after it. And it started unraveling. Not once did I ever say, how am I going to do it? But then it came day to my first podcast that I had to record. And my mother calls me up. She's like, hey, can you come over? I really didn't want to go, but I ended up going. She said, Vivian, I got you a gift. And she gave me my first mic. My mic, a whole, like, my first, I think I even have it right here. Yeah. Like podcast kit. And I was just like, this is so amazing. Like, this is just more proof that this stuff works, that manifestation works because I didn't focus on the how. I just kept the vision and the fear was there, but I kept holding the vision. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And I did it. I did it. So that's a huge manifestation that happened this year. And you can't focus on the how. If you know there's something greater for you, know that it is available to you. It's showing itself to you for a reason and it's meant for you and it's your time. And the best way to connect with that reality is just to put one foot in front of the other. You know, it's yours. Like, look for a guide, look for a coach, look for a mentor, a therapist, somebody who you can expand this vision and put it into reality. Somebody who can help you get it from the energetic realm to the physical manifestation, to the physical 3D reality. Hey there, it's Vivian, and I'm briefly interrupting this episode because I'm so excited to share that if this episode is lighting you up, then pack your bags because we're going to Sedona, Arizona in February. Think your manifestation lily pad surrounded by red rocks to jump into your most magnetic era yet. My last client manifested her dream job on our last retreat with me, making 5 times the amount of money she was making in her last job. Plus, she's fully remote. The cherry on top is that she also manifested a more aligned friend group that supports and celebrates her, friends who she can truly be herself around without worrying about being judged. I only have a few spots left, so send me a direct message on Instagram today saying Sedona so I could share all the details with you. If you are the self-proclaimed manifestation expert of your friend group, waiting for the invitation to your next level, or are ready to finally live the life you can't stop hearting on Instagram, then be sure to check the show notes to learn how to apply. Plus, as an extra bonus for our listeners, when you apply to the retreat, make sure you mention this podcast episode to get a free in-person private manifestation coaching session with me while we're in Sedona. Oh my freaking goodness. I am so excited. And I'll meet you in our DMs. And for now, let's get back to the episode.
Your program, the Manifestation Acceleration.
Yes.
And with that, that's what you're here for, right? You're here to basically guide people into an acceleration of their manifestations, like how to get up to speed. And what's your #1 practice to exhilarate the whole process of the idea realm, the subtle realm, and bring it actually into the physical? Like if you had to like pick one, what's the #1 most important practice or mindset or whatever, like belief.
There's a lot of different important parts. It's moving through the 5 dimensions of like the 5 dimensions to your manifestation that will get you there. Manifestation is taking longer than 6 months. Something is not right. You're doing something wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
It should take you between 3 to 6 months for something huge to start coming into the 3D. So what we want to do is we want to look at our relationship to the thing that we're calling it. What are your thoughts around this thing? And get real and honest. The more honest you are, the more you're going to be able to unblock what's stopping you and preventing this life from happening, right? So, like, if it's money and you're like, well, you know what? I feel like I will have to work really hard and that it's frustrating and it's going to take so much time, right? Put that all down. What are these limiting beliefs? 20 beliefs that you have around this thing that you're calling in. Put it down on paper, 20. These are your expired beliefs. And then I want you to choose 20 beliefs that you are now choosing to believe. So if one of them was that it takes so much time to manifest money that I'll have to put so much work in, maybe a new belief you have is actually I can manifest money pretty quickly. Maybe it's actually I can manifest money in a way that feels easy for me. A way that I like to describe what I just said to you, right? What we're doing is we're taking old beliefs, we're moving them out, and then we're choosing 20 new beliefs. I like
Yeah.
to relate this to upgrading your computer. You know, when you get your computer or your phone says new update available, right? What happens? We have to undownload the old software because it's no longer working. It's expired. There's no purpose for it anymore. A more upgraded system is now available, right? And so when we upgrade our phone, it's running on a new software that allows it to have all these new features and run more smoothly and quickly. So that's what we're doing when we are getting rid of 20 belief systems. We're depugging, we're getting rid of this template that's been running in our minds, it's been stopping and blocking us from living our best fucking lives. And by choosing 20 new beliefs, we're upgrading ourselves. So we're upgrading ourselves to the software that's going to give us all these new features. Okay, by believing that I'm a money magnet, that money flows easily to me, I am manifesting money more easily. Maybe it's more fun now, right? And we're choosing, I'm just using money as an example, but we're choosing these new beliefs and we're upgrading with them and we get new features, quote unquote, so to speak, in return.
And it's in that I've heard you in the past about talking about collapsing timelines when it comes to manifesting.
Yeah.
And like as we bring in like basically deleting old programs, upgrading our programs, downloading new programs, can you bring in the connection to collapsing timelines or collapsing not only timelines but collapsing time in order to exhilarate your manifestation? Because you just brought in the aspect of, hey, if it's a really big thing, it shouldn't take you anywhere longer than like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't always compute with our linear thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we connect it to, well, in the past, just achieving like this much took me this much time. So now if I want this, it must take me this much time. How does one kind of even wrap their head around the concept of collapsing time? I'm
So
really curious to have you take on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, because it's a great question because I could answer it on many different levels. I can answer it on a very like scientific level. I could answer it on a very like layman beginner's level or on a really spiritual deep level. In very basic terms, when we collapse time, what we're doing is we're choosing our vision over and over again. We are saying no to everything that is out of alignment with the thing that we're calling in, which means if we're manifesting our soulmate, we are not responding when the ex text says, hey, what's up, out of the blue after not hearing from them for 5 to 6 months, right? We are literally putting our blinders on and saying no to everything that isn't it. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And you can never say no to something that's meant for you. If you say no to something that's meant for you, it'll come back. So get that fear like out of your way. Collapsing time, when we do this, not only do we have our blinders on, we are also becoming the version of ourselves. We're becoming the version of ourselves who has what we want now, right? So, okay, let's say you're calling in the dream partner. Close your eyes and I want you to ask yourself, Who are you with that person? How are you different than who you are now? Do you dress differently? Do you have different confidence level? Are you waking up in the morning like, with a kiss versus by yourself? Like, how is your life different in every aspect of your life? And then take on the habits of that self now. What you do is you literally become her in the present moment. Instead of manifesting in months, you're manifesting in the moment, right? And we have to do the visualization. And if you're not a visual person, write out as if you had your manifestation now, what a day in the life would be. Why? Because when we write it out, we're still doing some visual work. We see when we write, or we understand, or we just simply know that it's there, right? If we don't see, we know that it's there. Or we could record ourselves speaking this manifestation and listening to it. If you're an auditory person, just keep on listening to this reality that you've created as if it already happened. Because before anything could come into our physical life, it must happen in the energetic field, right? So when we write it down, we're taking something from our mind and we're putting it onto paper. And that's the first physical manifestation of the thing that you're calling in. You literally took something from your mind to paper. It's physical now, right? It's words, it's on a piece of paper. And the more that you keep on visualizing it, like I said, the more you strengthen the Wi-Fi connection to it. Just don't let the how come in the way, because I'm telling you, it's all going to unravel in a way that's better than you could imagine right now. So you just really have to connect to the vision, the mission, and the manifestation.
I love that so much because it brings the responsibility back. And it's also this whole, like sometimes it's like we don't have 99 problems. The only problem is we said yes to something we should have said no to. So I love the way you explain it. It's just like keep the vision, keep it in your mind, and say no to everything that is not aligned with the vision. And this is how you collapse time. I'm curious because you mentioned the more like physics aspect of it. For those that speak that language out there, how would you collapse time or explain that in a more physical or physics, quantum physics kind of sense?
Like in a more spiritual way,
Yeah.
I would say so. In the fifth dimension, every single possibility exists. Like every thought that you have, and not just every thought you have lives here, but like every choice you didn't make lives here. So every choice you made, and then every choice you didn't make. A great example of this is from Maureen St. Germain's book, where she's like, imagine you're wearing a white dress and you go to an ice cream store and you really want to get the chocolate, but then you look at your dress and you're like, ooh, if I spill this, I'm going to stain my white dress. In that thought alone, you created a reality where you ended up getting the chocolate ice cream, spilt it on your dress. That lives in the fifth dimension. Then you say, you know what, maybe I'll get the strawberry because I love strawberry, but same thing. It'll stain my dress and then I'll have to buy a new one. So now you just created a reality where you spilt that strawberry ice cream on your dress and you bought a new dress. Then finally you go with the vanilla, and basically what she's saying is all these different realities, just by thinking of it, exists in the quantum field, which is another way of saying the fifth dimension. And you could align to any of these lives just by choosing, right? At the end of the day, you chose to get the white ice cream, the vanilla ice cream. So you experience that reality in which you got the vanilla ice cream. So knowing this, you can connect to a possible life by visualizing it, dreaming it up, writing about it, right? That's how we connect to the fifth dimension into a life. So we connect to that life. We become that life by embodying that version of ourselves now. Start choosing it consistently, putting the blinders on until you merge with that lifetime and bring it into this physical reality. A big question that I get asked all the time is, Vivian, do you believe in past lives? Now, I believe in the multiverse. I believe that we are experiencing many, 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 many lives. But I have a bone to pick with the word past because time doesn't exist. I think it's all happening at the same time. And we use time to experience life in a linear way so that we can make sense of like, okay, that happened behind us. And this did not happen yet in my experience with the consciousness that I'm currently experiencing life with. It's a mouthful. It's a lot to digest. And this is like on a much higher, understanding of things. But yes, I believe in we are experiencing many, many lives. And people could listen to our episode in season one when we talk about past lives and we talk about the voice and how perhaps the voice is an accumulation of all of our lives, all the experiences that we are experiencing in every single moment. I say moment and not past life, because we are an accumulation of our lives in this physical manifestation. It's a lot. It's a lot to digest.
What about past lives? Like, what made you bring up past lives right now? How do you connect that to the potentiality?
Because when we look at past lives, we have to bring up the quantum field. We have to bring up the fifth dimension because we that's where all the lives exist. The Akashic records are in the fifth dimension. That's where everything is kept. It's not only all the possible lifetimes, but the history of life itself, of what we call life, of experience of self, really at the end of the day, we're just experiencing ourselves in relation to the things around us. Like I said, we manifest based off our relationship to self, right? So it's all connected. But what a beautiful conversation we're having. So anyway, so so we have to bring up past lives when we talk about collapsing time because we are connecting with different lives. And it's funny when we are manifesting something in our life, we can call in the version of ourselves who already has it to help us. Because basically, again, on this very spiritual level, all we're doing is shifting our consciousness. Okay, there is a Vivian, let's say, living a life where with what she's currently calling in. Let me attune to that Vivian, ask her to help me now. And that consciousness, that awareness is going to unlock something in the Vivian, in this body, in this reality right now. And a great example of this was the other day, I really, really, really wanted to sit with the Sedona retreat that we're doing in February. I didn't want to just put it out and be like, hey guys, all right, sign up. Like, I wanted to do this in a really cool way where people got to experience part of the retreat before even being there. Like, I wanted the entire thing, the entire from like learning about the retreat to signing up to the retreat to getting there to be an experience in of itself, a journey, right? This is a journey to your manifestation. It's the initiation to the next level of your life. This retreat is, I'm like really excited about it. Okay. And so I asked myself, like, hey, Viv, the Vivian who's already accomplished this, let's say in quote unquote the future, like, what, like, give me some advice. Like, how should I make this an experience that is unforgettable? How do I make this an experience that you're already attuning into your manifestation in the now just by signing up, just by like reading the itinerary? I want people to feel the energy of the vortexes, which in Sedona, which is like one of the most powerful places to manifest. Like I said, I manifested my boyfriend. I manifested this podcast. I manifested more things that I could possibly imagine. I manifested Journey with VRD making the most money it's ever made and continues to make every single month, making more and more. But that just means I'm influencing and I'm helping and I'm inspiring and I'm getting people to their desired lives more and more. It don't change everything for me. So I called on that Vivian, the Vivian who's already done this. And guess what? I said, you know what? I need to contact my business coach. So I spoke with her and she raised her prices by $1,000. I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And so I said, you know what? Let me do this in 2 months from now. But the Vivian who already, I said I wanted to have this retreat in February. The Vivian who already has experienced a retreat came in. And she's like, no, you asked me to help you, so I'm going to. And of course, I wasn't consciously aware of this. And so I was talking to my mother. I was like, I really wanted to take Journey with VRD to the next level. I know my business coach can help me, but she just like raised her prices by $1,000. She's like, you know what? I believe in you and I believe in your vision so much. I'm going to give you the $1,000. Hire her. Go do it. I was like, whoa. And I did, because this retreat is meant to happen in February on President's Day weekend. This is meant to happen. There are people that are going to be signing up to this retreat that are going to gain the exact spiritual medicine they need in order to accelerate, in order to unstuck themselves, unfuck themselves, right? Stop staying in this life that like doesn't feel good when you know that there's so much more readily available to you that you deserve, that you were put on planet Earth to experience. So when we ask ourselves that has already experienced the thing that we're now calling in to come into our life and help us, there's no turning back. They're so excited to help you because they've already experienced the thing that you want. And it was freaking amazing. It's part of your journey. It's what you're meant for. So yeah, that's like on a really spiritual level, right? Take what you want from this. Like what resonates with you. And I'm speaking to the listener, like take what resonates and run wild with it.
I love this so, so much because it's almost like this, like when you're, okay, so let's say you're climbing the Mount Everest and okay, you're not on the top, but you took the very first step on the path. You're already climbing the Mount Everest. You're going to do it. So what you're saying, okay, I'm going to create this retreat, or I'm going to create my first $1 million with my online business. Like the
Mm.
moment you already put it out, it's like you've already walked the first step of the Mount Everest. So that
Mhm.
means you're gonna end up somehow you're gonna end up here. And I love how you just put that together. Like it's so freaking beautiful because like as you spoke about this, like I saw all of these like ties that you're throwing to your future self and back and forth, and now it's entangled. Now it's going to happen. So this is really, really beautiful. And in that, I'm curious, like how much of a role or what role does intuition play
Mm.
when it comes to manifestation, or how do you even define intuition in connection with manifestation? Because it requires us to be really in tune. But yeah, I'm curious what you how you feel about that word.
Such a great question. So intuition and manifestation go, everybody's in, first of all, everybody is intuitive. Everybody has intuition, and intuition and manifestation are intertwined.
Mm,
Intuition is that gut feeling. It's that voice in your head. It is that will, it's that inner knowing, like I said, that like there's something greater for you, even if you don't know what that is, that there's something greater for you available to you. Choose it, figure it out, get a like do the things to get it. Like even I said, I wanted to hire my business. I have a coach. Like that is how you accelerate, right? That is how you collapse time. Instead of trial and error, you are going to the source who has what you want, that has the medicine, that has the tools, that has the strategy, so that you don't have to dilly dally, right? So that you don't have to fail so many times. Anywho, intuition is so important because it tells you what to say yes to, what to say no to. It tells you that there is something more for you. Because not
yep.
everything is going to work for everyone. You have to, like, I follow my intuition when I'm giving a client a task to do or a method to manifest, right? I follow my intuition, my gut feeling. Um, but the biggest, so you need it in order to manifest. You need intuition to live life. Everybody has intuition. We're born with intuition, but it's like a muscle, right? We have to practice it. We have to grow it. If we just use it once, right, it's not going to be so strong. We might question it and doubt it, right? We have to see to
Mhm.
believe, and we have to keep on building that muscle, building, 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 which is why I also give my clients that 7-day tracker that I was talking about earlier so that they could really see what they're manifesting on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Now, a lot of people confuse intuition with anxiety.
Mm,
And the difference between intuition and anxiety is that anxiety is fear of the future, right? It's always future based. The voice in your head when it comes to anxiety is future based, even though it's happening in the gut, or you might hear that voice. Anxiety is always future based, and it's overwhelming. Intuition can also have that overwhelming feeling and that gut butterfly, feeling, but intuition is always about the present moment. Intuition is
mm,
always here for guiding us, where anxiety is
mhm.
always future. Intuition is telling you, like, hey, we think you should go here, or hey, we think you should say no, or hey, you know? So that's the difference between anxiety and intuition, how to better differentiate. Am I experiencing anxiety? Is this fear-based? Is this coming from, and like, don't get me wrong, like I've experienced intuition, like a hit of knowledge, of wisdom, of information that was scary that I didn't like, right? That wasn't what I wanted in the moment. And so it was scary and it didn't feel good. Anxiety is based on fear in the future and usually has to do with ourselves trying to protect ourselves from a pain that we've experienced in the past. Where
Mm.
intuition is literally guiding us, helping us to our purpose, to our vision, to our mission, and our manifestation.
So you're saying that intuition always gives like a little like nudge of action,
It's
like almost like,
guidance. It's
okay, there's
literally
something you can
intuition
do.
is guiding you. It's guiding you
Mm.
to your manifestation, your purpose, your vision, your mission. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
anxiety is trying to protect you, but instead it's giving you fear about the future. And, it could actually block and stop you from intuition.
Mm. With no like action attached to it, really.
hmm
Anxiety. It's just okay, yeah. I think that's a really beautiful way to like display the difference between both
hmm
of them. You mentioned it as you were explaining it, you mentioned that 7-day tracker or
hmm
manifestation tracker. Like, how do you help people keeping track of their manifestations or their manifestation practice?
I literally have a PDF booklet and it's a 7-day tracker and it goes through like there's a whole morning journaling session, like questions that I ask you to, and it helps you like set your intuition. It's really awesome. And then at night, every single night for 7 days, you're doing the integrating. And then at the end of the week, you're processing the week and you're just like showing your mind how much goodness. And when we train our mind to look at the manifestations, find the manifestations, what we do is we end up attracting so much more manifestations because we always find what we look for. And so we're training our minds and we're trained to work for us so that manifesting
Mm,
doesn't have to be such an active role. It just
yeah.
happens. It's so yeah, it's amazing. I always
Mm,
say like the first thing that people have to believe in order to manifest, and I mean really manifest like the big things, is normalize the fact that miracles are natural. They're all around us happening 24/7. Like so many people are like, miracles are so rare. I'm like, well, did you wake up this morning? Because miracle, right? You found that parking spot, miracle. You took that
mhm.
breath, every single thing is a miracle. Every single thing is a wonder, like it's a part of God. Like not to bring
Yeah.
religion into this, but like every single thing is miraculous. And when you look at the miracles, like, oh my gosh, like you were running late, but you made it on time, miracle. How many times have you done that? So many times, right? Miracles are natural, you know?
Mhm.
Babies are born every single day. That's a miracle. Miracles are happening all the time. They're natural.
Yeah. Or I'm more curious, like that helps people to gain a different perspective on their lives, the way they think about manifestation. And what's one of the greatest like perception shifts that you had to go through recently
Oh,
in order
recently?
for you, or in general, maybe not even recently, but in order for you to get from here to the next level? Like, what's one of the great perception shifts? Like, because that what you just said now, it's like everything is a freaking miracle. You waking up is a miracle. That's a perception shift for so many, right? It's like just like looking at things from a different perspective, and that's gonna create a whole different outcome and a whole different reality. So I'm really curious, like, what's one of the things that you had to really shift in order
Oh,
to
okay.
keep up?
I'll say a recent one because there's so
Okay.
many. There's so many, but like for me, my perspective shifts happen in the moment. Like it'll be like I'm just like on the train, commuting, whatever it is, and like all of a sudden I'll be like, huh, like that was interesting. And I sometimes think it's like either downloads or messages from my guides, from God, from my galactic, all the things. But like this is a really, really cool one that I had recently that I'm actually excited to share. So,
Yeah.
and I actually shared this with my mother the other day because she's into this stuff and I was super excited about this one. So I was sitting down and this perspective downloaded into my mind, like almost like we were talking about before, like a new software update happened within me where woke up. I was in this really heavy energy for like weeks, and it was
Mm-hmm.
ruining my life. It was literally ruining my life. Like I couldn't do anything. Everything felt like a chore. And then this download hit. And I call it a download because it literally downloaded within me. It upgraded my entire system. Where like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share this. I'm just trying to put it into like human words. Like every single day is a game. It's a game. Every single day that we wake up on earth in this lifetime, in this reality, we made it to the next day. We did not
Mm-hmm.
die. If you think of a video game, Mario Kart, what happens when you get out? We say we died, right? Oh, we died. I want to start over, right? We have to start over. That's almost like reincarnation. We didn't hit our purpose. We have to reincarnate. But every single day that we wake up in this body, we made it to the next day. We had a mini win and we had a mini up level. Every single day we have to look at like a mini up level. Like I got to the next level. Sometimes we jump from one world to the next when we have like these really huge awakenings. But the key to those awakenings, to those upgrades, to getting to the next level is the reflection, is the integrating, is the processing, which is why it's key every single night when you go to sleep, or every single night when you're doing your journaling, or if you have the 7-day tracker, this is in there in the nightly integration. But you have to ask yourself, okay, what worked for me today? Like, how did I show up? What manifested? What didn't work? What do I no longer want to be a part of? What new habits do I want to take on? Like, really integrating your day and reflecting on it is going to make you so successful for the next day because you wake up knowing, all right, I woke up, I made it to the next day. How am I going to win today? What do I want to win today, right? Setting your intention in the morning. Like, what am I doing today? What am I experiencing? And when we live life like a game, like every single day, I'm getting better in every single way, right? And we are like, if you know that you're playing the game, I'm going to bring this to Mario Kart for a second because I've been playing that a lot recently. If we know that we're playing a game, then when we get to those like boxes with the question mark, which is like a gift for us, we know to look for the gift. We're like, that's a gift. And we use it to our advantage, we benefit from it. If you don't know you're playing a game and you get one of those, you might just say, today was a really great day. I felt so lucky today, right? But you won't really know how
Yep.
to use that gift and that energy and that goodness, right? But we know, and for people who are awake, we know that when we risk to succeed for our expansion, we take a risk, we're the most magnetic. When we're having a win and we're celebrating, we're really magnetic. And those are the moments to pray, to ask for, like, visualize, because you're at such a high frequency. And the universe, God wants to reward you for all that, right? When we set a boundary and we implement it, God wants to reward us. The universe is like, what do you want now? We'll give it to you because you're in that energy. You're in that worthiness. But if we don't know that we're playing a game, we might slip on the banana, right? We might not know to look for the banana and we might hurt ourselves. The ink in Mario Kart, it might come and blur our vision and we might fall into illusion and we won't even know why, right? We won't know, like, oh, why did I just have a brain fart? Why do I have brain fog? But if we know we're playing the game, we might not always be able to control the brain fog, but we'll know what it is and we'll know how to navigate it so that we don't fall behind, but instead use it for our benefit, use it as a superpower, right? Instead of sitting in, just like what happened to me, I was in a brain fog for a couple of weeks and it was like knocking me off my game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to call in that inner strength and all the lessons that I've been through to get back on the wagon, to ask my highest self, hey, wake me up from whatever I'm in right now because this is not for me. And I'm actually
Hmm.
really lucky. Shout out to my boyfriend who consistently reflects back to me all the lessons that I preach so that I could, ascend with myself. Like, he definitely is a great reflector of everything that I constantly talk about. So, yeah, so it's been a huge perspective shift to see life as a game. And I think that people who see life as a game are the most successful in their lives because they know what the prize is. They have a clear vision of where they're going and what they want. And they understand that they get to choose. Like you might win the game, right? And you might go to the next level and the prize becomes even bigger and more valuable. And so you play the game again, and some parts are going to be easier because you learn the lessons, and some parts are going to be new because you're in new territory, you're in a new world. Where you were once
Mm-hmm.
master, you're now a beginner, but you're still elevated, you're still higher. You're at the next level, the next dimension. So it's made life more exciting to wake up to, and it's made living way more interesting. And like, it's made when I can't control people around me and they're talking about things that are not in part of my reality. I could put my headphones on, I could put my ear filters on and say, okay, I'm not really going to pay attention or partake in the conversation because that's not something that will elevate me. In fact, that will drain my energy, right? And if I drain my energy, it's going to take me longer to move closer to the thing I want. I won't move. Like, when you collect a lot of coins in Mario Kart, you move faster. You have higher
Mm-hmm.
speed. But if you're drained, you won't be able to move. You're like, you're driving in the mud. And that's what it's like
Mm-hmm.
when you're around people who suck your energy. And like I said, we can't always control the people that we're around. I'm loving this
Yep.
podcast episode. But yeah, we can't always control the people we're around. So instead, we have to put our filters on, put on our headphones, choose to focus our attention somewhere else because where we put our energy flows where our mind goes. So we could either
Yep.
say, oh, this is so annoying that these people are around me and I can't control it. Or we could say, actually, let me put on a really good podcast. Let me put on Vision Missions Manifestations, you know?
Yes. And even that, like when we up level, it's computer
Mhm.
game language. And literally, like seeing like that is such a fun lens because what happens in a computer game? With every level, there's a new challenge that is a little harder than the level before. That's just what it is. And so when we're in it, when we're slipping on the banana, like you said, so, or we're having this challenge, we're like, wait, I'm just in that next level where naturally it gets progressively harder, but it's also getting progressively better.
Hmm.
And I'm curious with everything, because in the beginning we spoke about all the beauty that was created in the last year. With that, I like to say that with every blessing comes with a lesson. And in that, every up level comes with a bigger challenge. So I'm curious, how would you define up level if you could define it like even more precisely? And was there a recent challenge, or what was your biggest challenge that was connected to all of your up leveling? Like,
That's a great question. So an up level is literally when you level up, is when okay, I'm going to break this down because I really want somebody who's never heard of manifestation to understand this because it's a really important concept. So
yep,
right now, where you are, right? Think of a ladder, you're on a certain step. You can never stay there, right? You're either moving up or down. And
yep,
if you stay baseline, think about it, then you're dead. If you stay baseline for too long, you're dead. Like a heart, it's always going up and down. Like if it's going straight for too long, like you're out, you're done. So
mm,
an up level is when you literally raise your experience of life in every single container that I spoke about earlier, in love, in career, in home life, in um contribution, in fun and adventure, in spiritual development, like in all the things, like you literally took your life and took a step up. You've up
mm-hmm,
leveled. You are now experiencing life in a better feeling way, in a holier way. Your awareness woke up a little bit. You're more self-aware. You're waking up to like start questioning the things around you. When you level up, you're having a mini awakening. Sometimes you ascend, you go to a whole new world, right? And that's a huge awakening. But every level up, when you up level, right? You are literally experiencing life in a more wholly connected, consciously aware way. Usually before you up level, right? There's a downfall, like there's a rut or the rug gets pulled up under your feet or there's a rock bottom where like you literally can't go any worse, right? You fell off the ladder, you're on the floor and like there's nowhere downer than that. So you have to get up. The more rock bottoms you have, the easier they are to navigate and you don't fall that far down. And it just goes to show that, like, when we take that first step, like you were saying before, like in Mount Everest, we might know we want to climb it. We might not know how we'll get there, but we make the decision and we take the first step. And then we collapse time just by choosing what we want. We ascend, we flow, we rocket ship to that place, and we get to experience the journey there. And I feel like that's a funny thing. I'm going to bring up time. Like time recently, I don't know if anybody else is experiencing, but time is moving so fast. And it's funny because like we're calling in these things, we're manifesting these big things. Like we might say, I want to climb Mount Everest. And we're rocket shipping to the top, yet we're still being able to experience and integrate the steps and the journey that took us there. So it's like this really funny like thing going on with time where we're both this polarity where we're both rocket shipping to where we want to be, really accelerating our path, our manifestation, while experiencing it and like really collecting the coins, collecting the lessons. We don't utilize our gifts and our power in the ways that we can because we don't know all the ways we can. We're not taught this in school, but like the human race is a really powerful one. Like there's so much we can do and we can have it all. There's so much that we're capable of. And I feel like we're living such a small part of what we're capable of. So Journey with VRD is there to destroy that container, that glass ceiling, right? Like we all have these gifts. Just knowing that everybody has a capability to live their best lives. Yeah. There's so many good and so many bad of social media. The bad is that it distracts us. The good is that it expands us. Social media opens our eyes to what's possible because we see all these people doing these things that are so cool. And it's showing us what we could be doing too. Doom scrolling, right? It prevents us from doing the thing. It prevents us from taking the action because we're doom scrolling. We're stuck in the loop. So it's really go take that leap, go hire that coach, go do the thing and like live it. This life is meant for living. We're human beings. We get to be all of these things and experience all of these things. And taking back this mindset shift that life is a game, how many worlds do you want to experience? You could experience one world your whole life, this one path, or you could hop, take a trip, go on a journey, take a vacation, learn, do, have. You get to have it all. So and experience it all. So every single problem is taking you to your solution. The solution is always created before the problem. And it's when we're not getting to that place that the problem has to come in so that we can learn the lesson and get to where we're meant to be. Problems are just taking us to our purpose. Yeah. Yeah.
We just lots of goosebumps.
I love that. I love that. I love it. Yeah, but it's so true. It's so true. Like if it wasn't for my Crohn's disease, I would have never found manifestation. So like that initiated my whole entire life. Manifesting remission, a remission that's lasted over 12 years now. I'm on no medication. There's no inflammation. Like learning how to manifest perfect health was the initiator, right? I became obsessed with manifestation after that. If I can manifest perfect health, what else can I manifest? The solution always comes before the problem, and the problem is just taking us to the solution, always.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for this. It's like, again, you run such a high current. I tell you that every time I see you. It's very beautiful. It's very beautiful to even be in your field because it's just like super high energetic current. So awesome. And that's just us for, high energy equals high frequency. And wealth and everything that the freedom, it's a high energy result. And you run a very high energy in your system. So I'm very excited to see how it's all going to unfold.
Hey, if you like this podcast episode, please download it, give us a nice review, and follow us on Instagram at Journey with VRD to get all the latest and the greatest updates. Till next week.